What's up, guys? I'm Laura from Reading in Bed, and welcome back to the Short Story Advent Calendar, where I am revealing the day's story each day from December 1st through till Christmas, and today is day 9. But before we get into that, let's do a little Friday reads. Mine is the same as last week. I'm still reading Jane Eyre. I've got about 40 pages left, and I've got that bookish problem today where I have other things to do, like work and Christmas parties, where I would rather just finish these 40 pages, be done with it, and move on to something else. Not that I didn't like it, but, I can see why, even more so now, why Villette is so good, because some of the ideas are here, but they're just not developed with the same power as they are in Villette. So just about done. For the kids who aren't here, because I'm filming at 4 o'clock in the afternoon for various reasons, today's been... but I'll show you what I'm reading with them right now. With Benjamin, we're reading volume 3 of Lumberjanes, and I love that the kids love this so much because they're already at an age where they don't want to be associated with girls and girl things, but for whatever reason, they don't see this as a girl thing, even though it's written by girls and all the characters are girls, so it's great. I love it. And with Henry, this was our bedtime story last night. Yokai Are Real, which is a word-for-word retelling of the first episode of Yokai Watch, which we have both seen thousands of times. The less said, the better about that. So, yesterday's story was number 8, and it was Treading by Charles Demers. Speaking of enough said about that, Charles Demers is our first UBC accountable signatory. I made a joke before the calendar started. It's like, oh, I wonder how many of those people who signed that letter will be in the short story advent calendar. Well, we've got our first one. And yeah, I really don't have much more to say about it. I already wrote a blog post about it and ranted about it and blah, blah, blah. So I'm keeping track, though. This is our first one. He's one of the ones who wrote a statement and everything, and you can see all that online. But anyways, the story was good. So he's a comedian as well, and the story was really funny, and it was set during the Vancouver Olympics in 2010, which have a special place in my heart because I was a first-time mom at home with a 2-month-old, so I basically watched all of the coverage. I mean, they had live coverage at 2 in the morning of this thing on CBC, and I watched all of it. So always very special memories whenever I think about Vancouver 2010. And the story was good. I haven't read it to Benjamin yet, but I probably will. I'll just take out all the swears. He'll probably think it's pretty funny too. It's about selling a treadmill on Kijiji, which if you've done it, there's all sorts of crap that goes on. So that was day 8 story. It was good. It wasn't my favorite, but I enjoyed it. So let's move on to story number 9. So I don't have my kids to sort of interpret the illustration, but, well, we've got some open eyes and some closed eyes. And I'll admit I am spoiled. I mean, it's 4 in the afternoon. I have looked on Twitter, so I know who the author is, but I don't know much more about it than that. So this is called Dream Girl by Katie Coyle. So I think she's a YA author. Let's take a look. Yes, her debut novel, Vivian Apple at the End of the World, named one of the 40 best YA novels of all time by Rolling Stone. Wow, okay. I didn't know. I'd heard of that book, but I didn't know it was that big a deal. That's cool. She's American, and I think, yeah, she's written a sequel to that book as well, Vivian Apple Needs a Miracle. So, I wonder if this is going to be sort of in that YA vein, and it's a longer one, 25 pages, yeah. So, let's check out just the very beginning of this story. This all started when Winston's girlfriend Sheila dumped him at his high school graduation party. Or maybe it started when Sheila began to notice that Winston didn't understand her. Certainly it never would have happened had she not turned to Winston in their modern conflicts class 9 months earlier and said, "It's Winston, right?" with a twitchy smile that made him feel the low swoop of desire. And she never would have done that if the previous summer he hadn't gotten contacts, grown his hair past his ears, and perfected a flick of his head that left his sharp cheekbones exposed, emerging finally from what his mother had called his this awkward phase. I'm not saying it's all Winston's fault or anything. I'm just saying he might be with us today if he'd stayed a little ugly. Okay, so yeah, probably a YA type story, but we'll go with it. I will probably not get to read this till very late tonight after the Christmas party, but I will be back in the morning, probably with the boys, if I can convince them. I'll let you know what we thought of this. Maybe I'll read story number 8 to Benjamin, and he can give us a review of that, and we'll open the next day's story. So we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.